Hello, everyone. Happy Football Friday. It's a good one today. We got bowl games going on. We had one already happening earlier today. We have another one going on right now. The UTSA against Troy, the Duluth Trading Cure Bowl there in Orlando. UTSA number 25, UTSA is up 12-7 over number 24 Troy. So that's a very interesting game. I got it on my phone to the left of me here, but great slate of games this weekend coming up. We have Saturday NFL action tomorrow, as well as bowl games. And then of course the normal Sunday slate. And Logan should be on shortly here. Logan should be on shortly here. And we'll get going. But starting off, like I said, we had a game today already. Actually, sorry, we're gonna start off with no, we'll go to the college game. Hometown Lenders Bahamas ball, beautiful sight in the Bahamas there. UAB getting it done, getting a winning record this season, 7-6, 24-20 over Miami, Ohio, who finishes with a losing record. I picked the Red Hawks in this one. They came up 2 yards short, a la Kevin Dyson in the Rams Super Bowl loss in the Titans Super Bowl loss to the Rams. Dylan Hopkins for the Blazers here, 16-24, 66.7%, 204 yards, 1 touchdown and a pick. Jacob Zeno also played for a little bit while Hopkins was shaken up. He completed 1 of his 4 passes for 48 yards, so pretty solid there. Avion Smith for the Red Hawks, 15-27, 55.6%, 162 yards, 2 touchdowns, 22 carries per 50 yards. The player of the game here was UAB's running back Jermaine Brown Jr., 24 carries, 116 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a fumble. Also caught 2 balls for 6 yards. UAB wide receiver Trey Shropshire also had a great game, 6 catches, 183 yards, and a touchdown. Nice day for Trey there. And there wasn't much defensively, so I'm just going to go with the top guy as my defensive player of the game. Great game for Miami, Ohio linebacker Matthew Salopek, 15 tackles, 10 of them solos. So 2/3 of his tackles were solo tackles there, and he had 1.5 tackles for loss. Miami, Ohio covered easily, plus 10.5. Almost winning that one outright as a double-digit dog there. And then the under 46 hits by 2. Let's go back to the NFL here. Monday Night Football, Patriots getting above 500s, 27-13 over the Cardinals. Kyler Murray injured in this one, completed his only ball for 9 yards. Colt McCoy went the rest of the way. 27 of 40, 67.5%, 246 yards a pick, 5 carries for 24 yards. And then Mac Jones for New England, 24 of 35, 68.6%, 235 yards and a pick. Cardinals running back James Conner led the game in rushing, 15 carries, 83 yards, 85 yards, 1 touchdown, 6 receptions, 29 yards, and 7 targets. My boy, I want to shout out Pierre Strong for the Patriots. Love seeing him succeed. Rookie out of South Dakota State there. And his rookie classmate, Kevin Harris, both scoring touchdowns in that one. DeAndre Hopkins for the Cardinals led the game in receiving, 7 receptions, 79 yards, 11 targets. Did have a fumble, though. And Patriots wide receiver Nelson Aguilar also double-digit targets. He caught 5 for 32 on 10 targets. Defensively, two guys I want to point out here. How about the night for Josh Uche, the Patriots linebacker? 5 tackles, 4 solos, 3 sacks, 3 tackles for loss, 4 QB hits on Colt McCoy. Great night for Uche, and I'm happy he's finally breaking out. I really liked him coming out of Michigan 2 years, or I believe it was 2 years ago in 2020 there. And finally starting to break out here in his 3rd year. Also want to mention Patriots linebacker Raekwon McMillan, 3 tackles, 2 solos, and a 23-yard fumble return for a touchdown. So I love those defensive touchdowns there. The Patriots covered -2, easily under 44. Thursday Night Football, the Niners clinching the NFC West 21-13 over the Seahawks. And the Purdy parade just continues, you know. He is the first quarterback, I believe, to win his first road start in, I don't know if it's league history, but yeah, how about beating Tom Brady and then going on the road to Seattle and winning that one in your first career start as well? That was a pretty solid performance by Mr. Purdy there. And the Seahawks are kind of just floundering this opportunity that they had to make the playoffs this year with the team that they have in Geno Smith. What is up, my guy?
Hello, man. How are you?
I am tired from last night, that's for sure.
But it's got to feel good, huh? Being officially half a lawyer, man. Congrats.
Yes, sir. Great games. We had, I already talked about the Bahamas Bowl. I don't know if you got to watch any of that or not, or had any thoughts on that one.
I didn't get a chance to watch it yet, but I know that it kind of started out a little slow and then kind of finished up pretty well. Getting a chance to watch a little bit of the Cure Bowl, which I was surprised that UTSA versus Troy is such an early bowl game, because those are two of some of the best group of 5 teams in the bowl season. So
Yeah, I got it on my phone right now. It's a pretty solid defensive game there. But yeah, that Bahamas Bowl is Kevin Dyson deja vu there, 2 yards short of the goal line for the Red Hawks at the end. And then I got through Monday night there, Kyler going down, Patriots defense galore.
Yep.
They got the running game even without Stevenson going down in that one.
Drafting all those RBs, paying off for Billy.
Yeah, we were like, what are you doing? You already have backs.
Yeah.
And now they're coming into play. But yeah, I just got on to the Thursday night game last night. Watched the first half, was at the bar for the second, and of course, no one has Prime. So didn't get to watch the second half, but I saw there wasn't much scoring there, just the 2 touchdowns. But killed myself for not playing George Kittle. I have Hawkinson in my tight end slot and receivers and actually more running backs in my flex slots in Dynasty League. But yeah, 25 on the bench is a great time.
Yeah, it's always a pain. I mean, it's just so hard. You don't know how he's going to play with like a new quarterback, but Brock Purdy, man, he's been playing well. He's just kind of slid in, and it's just kind of been pretty solid for them. So that's good. It's also good for my super flex league. He's currently helping me with Lamar being out and Rodgers being on bye with the playoffs starting here. So shout out Brock Purdy, Mr. Irrelevant.
Yeah, and I think he's kind of the same person as Jimmy G. Anyways, but But yeah, Gino, 31 of 44, 70.5%, 238, 1 touchdown, 1 carry for 18 yards. Brock Purdy, 17 of 26, 65.4%, 217 yards, 2 touchdowns. CMC continues to light everyone up. 26 carries, 108 yards, a touchdown, 6 catches, 30 yards on 8 targets. Kenneth Walker struggled in this one, as the Seahawks did against the Niners defense. And like I said, George Kittle was a beast. 4 catches, 93 yards, 2 touchdowns on 5 targets. Tyler Lockett got injured in this one as well. And then defense play of the game is Nick Bosa. Who else would it be?
Yeah.
2 tackles, 1 solo, a sack, tackle for loss, pass deflection, 3 QB hits there.
Yeah, he has solidified himself among the elite of elite at the edge rush position. And I mean, if you take kind of a big picture look at the NFC right now, to me, it's the 49ers, it's the Eagles, and it's literally like a 50-foot cliff and like everybody else, you know? So it's just going to be really interesting to see how the playoff picture shakes out.
Yeah, I was kind of scared about the 49ers when they had Jimmy G in. They're still looking good. I'm not as scared yet. He hasn't played teams that are really good yet. So, the Bucks and Seahawks are both kind of in a downturn anyways at this point in the season. So I don't know. I'll wait till he plays a really good team. I don't know what the Niners schedule looks like, but the Niners covered -3 under 42.5. Got through that. So USFL news, there's a couple transactions, and we have a new CBA with the USFL that rivals the XFL's player compensation. That's what they were trying to do anyways.
Wow.
So if you're active, you get $5,350 per week, which was up from $4,500 per week. 18.8% increase there. Then if you're inactive, you get $2,500 a week, up from $1,500. So that's 66.6% increase. You also get a $400 per week housing stipend. And you get a $5,000 bonus for winning the USFL championship. The roster sizes, they are going to be 50 players, the same as they were last year, 40 active, 10 inactive. And then year 3 in 2024 there, it's going to stay 50 players per team, but it's going to go to 42 active and 8 inactive. Also pretty good, $26,000 per player annual benefits, retirement, per diem, training camp, housing, and education.
Wow.
So yeah,
That's a pretty good deal.
The couple of transactions with the USFL that I wanted to say about that I saw, the New Orleans Breakers, they have signed Alabama A&M quarterback Akil Glass, a beast at the HBCU level there. We'll have to see if he can come in and win the Breakers quarterback job. I don't think so. I think Kyle Sloter is back with the Breakers after not working out in the NFL once again. But yeah, that's a good signing for them. And then also the New Jersey Generals, they have signed wide receiver DeMornay Pearson-L, also a kind of veteran of spring ball, has played in the AAF, XFL, I believe, last year, and now the USFL. College news, starting out on a somber note. Monday, Mississippi State head coach Mike Leach passed away, age 61. Crazy that it kind of like escalated that quickly, because it was just like Sunday and then Monday he's gone.
Yeah.
Complications related to a heart condition was the reason there. But yeah, great innovator. I mean, it's crazy to see all the stories that are coming out about him, and all the coaches and people that he touched there.
Yeah. Yeah. And, on the field, you're talking about a guy who really helped solidify and legitimize the air raid offense as a viable means of running a good football team and a good offense. And off the field, I mean, you're just talking about one of the greatest personalities in the sport. I mean, it's just some of the videos that people were sharing in his memory. I love the press conference he had where he was talking about, if it was really about the mascots like fighting each other, like who would win in the Pac-12, and he's going over like, well, if a Utes on horseback, and he's doing all this in-depth analysis about who would actually come on. I mean, so yeah, I mean, it's a big loss, and he will definitely be missed.
Yeah. I think the video that they did from ESPN was pretty good too. Gardner Minshew putting the mustache on him. Other college news here. Big loss for Ohio State. They will be without running back TreVeyon Henderson in the college football playoff. He's gonna have foot surgery. So, but I mean, they have other backs. It's not gonna matter when 88's hitting them, so it's fine. Big news at the top of the NCAA. They have found the replacement for Mark Emmert. He is retiring as president next year. Going to stay on in an advisory role through June, but it will be current Massachusetts Governor Charlie Baker. His term ends in January next year, and so he will officially be the president of the NCAA on March 1st. So I think it's a really weird. I don't know his background. I've never even heard of the guy, but I thought that was such a weird selection.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely going to be interesting. It's definitely going to be interesting to see, because we're at such a pivotal point in NCAA governance with NIL and everything. So he's kind of stepping into a quite an interesting landscape. And yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see how he navigates that. I mean, we've had the privilege of speaking with how many people in the college space who are just there's not a lot of direction right now. And just there's so much unregulated stuff that's going on. So yeah, we'll see what kind of changes he implements.
Coaching carousel here. Purdue has their new head coach replacing Jeff Brom. He left for Louisville, and they are hiring Illinois' defensive coordinator Ryan Walters. Illinois, one of the best defenses this year in the country and Big Ten. So we'll see. Stays in conference. Gonna know about Purdue. So we'll see. Or gonna know about Illinois, I mean. Mississippi State also has their new head coach. They promoted interim head coach and defensive coordinator Zach Arnett to the head coaching position. I'm kind of not sure how that's going to work, because I don't really know too much about Arnett, but at the same time, it kind of just feels like a Band-Aid that I just don't, in my mind, I don't think it's going to work out.
Yeah, I mean, And I mean, Mississippi State's just in a really bad, spot because,
Mhm.
Unfortunately this tragedy happened kind of after kind of that first wave of, the coaching carousel. So, I kind of agree with their mentality right now of just like, let's just keep some continuity um,
Mhm.
in a situation that nobody was expecting. Um, and yeah, we'll see how it pans out for them on the field. But from an organizational kind of perspective, I do get it a little bit. Um, Even if it is kind of like just how you said, kind of a band-aid. I can see where they kind of went with that idea.
UNLV has a new defensive coordinator. It is Missouri State head coach Bobby Petrino back in the FBS sphere. Uh, so yeah, why not? Bobby spent all his money in Vegas, though.
Yeah, it's a little I don't know, it could be dangerous, but you know what? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Missouri State definitely one of the better FCS programs the last couple of seasons while he's been there. And interesting, Purdue. So this came out after or before, I believe, Ryan Walters was hired as head coach, but it doesn't matter because Walters isn't going to coach in the bowl game. Purdue is hiring former Boilermakers quarterback Drew Brees as an interim assistant coach. He's gonna coach in the Citrus Bowl, they said. And he also is getting an NCAA waiver to allow him to recruit as well. So it's really weird. And it said interim assistant coach, so I don't know how long he's gonna do. I know he's doing helping with the bowl prep and coaching in the bowl, and then helping with the coaching transition as well.
Well, I mean, that's huge for Purdue, having obviously your most famous kind of alumni help you with the coaching transition, help you in the postseason a little bit. And I know Drew Brees has kind of talked about like he's very open right now and like what his plans are. The NBC thing didn't really work out, but he still has, ties to some broadcasting stuff.
Yeah.
I think he's mentioned coaching high school ball and stuff like that. So, I mean, we'll see if this is kind of a tryout and see if maybe he attains more of a permanent role there. It could be very interesting for Purdue.
Yeah, and it also is going to help Aiden O'Connell in his draft prep as
Mhm.
well. And getting the next quarterback at Purdue. Transfer portal, long list here. Many commitments. So Virginia Tech has a new quarterback. They have signed Baylor quarterback Kyron Drones. It's an intriguing quarterback there, dual threat guy that can. I didn't think his throwing ability was that great of what I did see at Baylor, but definitely can run the ball as that dual threat. Also committed Michigan tight end Eric All. He's headed to Iowa. So Iowa getting two Michigan Wolverines in the transfer portal with Cade McNamara as well. So definitely, I mean, that's a great job by Kirk Ferentz, I think, getting those two together when they already have that chemistry.
Absolutely. Iowa's done really good this offseason. I think McNamara is going to be a huge upgrade at the quarterback position. And I think you have a guy like that who can be a steady presence there with that offense and that offensive line. I think they're going to be much better next year. And then, yeah, Eric All, I think that's a great move for him. I think that's a great move for Iowa. I was kind of been a tight end factory there, and All was going to be the guy at Michigan until Schoonamaker kind of blew up and kind of took that spot. So I think All still has a lot of that talent. Um, and yeah, I think he's in a good position to use that next year.
And there's an open tight end starting spot with Laporta going to the
Yep.
draft this year.
Yep.
Also committed Oregon wide receiver Dante Thornton. He is headed to the U, Miami. he was kind of one of the guys where I didn't have a lot to talk about with him. I just knew he was decent for Oregon this past year. How about the Boston College getting a massive replacement for Zay Flowers? UCF wide receiver Ryan O'Keefe. Boston College also got someone else too. I don't remember who they got. But BC has done a great job as well in transfer portal.
Yeah.
And O'Keefe should be a star like he was at UCF.
Yeah. Losing Dracovic was kind of big, but at the same time, like you said, they've done a really good job of getting talent there. So it's going to be interesting.
And then last one that we have committed, Tulsa getting a massive wide receiver. Not actually massive because he's not that big, but Oklahoma State wide receiver Braylon Presley going to Tulsa. Massive production at Oklahoma State, and Oklahoma State's been weird. They've had a lot of defection this offseason, and Tulsa getting better there.
Mm-hmm.
And a couple guys have visited some places, big name guys here. Coastal Carolina quarterback Grayson McCall took a visit to Auburn. So Hugh Freeze might be getting a massive quarterback if he can get McCall to come to Auburn there.
Yeah, I mean, in my opinion, McCall's probably the best quarterback in the portal right now. I mean, you got a lot of guys in there with like a lot of stars, to their name, but McCall has the best resume by far. And I think it's a great move for him. I think, he gave everything he could at Coastal. And now he's grad transferring, seeing if he can do a kind of a 1-year deal, try and go win, take a team very far. And I think he can do that. So I hope that he kind of maximizes his time, visits a lot of places, because wherever he goes, it could kind of change the college football landscape for next year.
Yeah. And I think he's already a day 2 pick.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, if he goes to like a Power 5 and really does well, day 1. And another guy taking a couple of visits, Arizona State running back Daniel Ngata. Washington and BYU interested in him. Pretty good back there at ASU. Looking to BYU, I think would be a good fit for him actually. But yeah. Western Kentucky quarterback Austin Reed, he has withdrew his name from the portal, so that's a great get for Western Kentucky. Get him back, one of the best passers in the country, coming up from North Florida D2 school, making that transition to the FBS was really solid for Austin Reed, and going to flourish in that Western Kentucky offense again next year. And then just guys putting their name into the portal, Arizona State quarterback Emory Jones, once again in the portal, transferred there last year from Florida, going to find another home next year. NC State wide receiver Devin Carter, big loss for the Wolfpack if he does leave. Really great production, 1,000-yard receiver there. Sacramento State defensive end Ayodele Adeoye. Oh yeah. Pretty good.
Nice. Yeah.
Pretty good player for the Hornets in their quarterfinal run this year, and looking to jump up to the FBS. UCF possibly losing another wide receiver, Joey Gatewood. He's been weird. He's bounced back, wide receiver, quarterback. I don't know what position he plays now because it says wide receiver. So, but yeah, he is also in the portal, as is Kent State wide receiver Jayshawn Polk. Really great production at Kent State. He should be on a Power 5 schools roster, I believe, next season. And then just today, Arkansas safety Jalen Catalon That's a big defender in the portal there from the Razorbacks.
I did not know about that one. That is huge. I mean, you're talking about a guy who was getting some day one hype going into this season, didn't have that great of a season this year, but still veteran presence would be a great get for any team that's able to scoop him up.
And we had 3 draft declarations, at least big name draft declarations. 2 Clemson defenders, defensive end Miles Murphy and linebacker Trenton Simpson. They are both heading to the draft, as is Biletnikoff winner, I believe. He won the Biletnikoff, right? I think, yeah.
Jalen Hyatt?
Yeah, Tennessee wide receiver Jalen Hyatt announcing he is declaring as well. All day one guys, right?
Yeah, they at least all have day one hype right now. Simpson's going to be, whether you think a linebacker should be taken in the first or not, but definitely talent wise, I think all those guys have a chance to do that.
NFL news. I already said this, but the Niners clinched the NFC West last night there. So they are officially in the playoffs. Competition committee apparently going to discuss possibly allowing roughing the passer to be a reviewable play. It's going to be blurry if it is reviewable, because roughing the passer is a subjective call. I don't know. I do agree. I like what the XFL is doing, what they're going to do in the spring there. Everything is reviewable. Granted, XFL only is allowing coaches to have 1 challenge instead of 2. But we'll see what that looks like, because that's what the NFL does. They look at the other leagues and see, well, can that work?
Yeah. And I think, there's a balance there, right? You don't want to slow down the game too much, but at the same time, you want to get it right. Right. And roughing the passer has been one of those calls lately where it's just been like, there's been so many calls where it just doesn't look like that should be it, because there isn't a lot of intentional contact. So I'm for it. Especially if you can kind of do it a little more expeditedly. But we'll see.
It just feels like it's going to be pass interference all over, though.
Yeah. That's true.
That was
that was rough.
Terrible fiasco. The Broncos, the Walter Penner family making a statement in their commitment to Denver. They are putting up $100 million worth of renovations to Empower Field at Mile High. Going to be completed before next season starts. Improved video boards, premium hospitality areas, improved technology, concessions, Broncos team store, and to the elevators there at Empower Field. What's $100 million to them?
Right. It sounds like chump change probably to them.
The NFL will not play a game in Mexico next year. Estadio Azteca undergoing renovations to be ready for the 2026 World Cup. So more than likely, we're going to get 2 Germany games next year instead. Cardinals, they are just a dumpster fire right now. I mean, everything is going wrong. And they had the offensive line coach fired in Mexico there. They're losing games. Kyler Murray goes down, and now General Manager Steve Keim stepping away, taking an indefinite health-related leave of absence. I don't remember the other person, but I know one of the 2 people that are taking on his responsibilities is Cardinals. What is his position there? President? Adrian Wilson, former safety for the Cardinals. That's high-ranking official in their organization. This one was kind of weird, and I'm not a big fan. But Kelly Clarkson will be hosting the NFL Honors on Thursday, February 9th. Yeah, again, I'm not a big Kelly Clarkson fan, so
Yeah. Interesting choice.
yeah, I don't know.
We'll see. It's hard to follow, Peyton. Peyton's been doing something for however long.
And then the Cowboys owner Jerry Jones said there's a good chance Odell Beckham Jr. signs with them soon and plays in the postseason. They've been saying he's going to sign soon for like 2 months now, so I had no clue. Playoff clinching scenarios. So we have the Eagles and the Niners in. They're the only two teams that have clinched. The Bills can clinch their playoff ticket with a win tomorrow against the Dolphins. The Chiefs, they can clinch the AFC West with a win over the Texans or a Chargers loss to the who are they playing? I don't remember. The Titans. The Cowboys can clinch a playoff berth with a win over the Jags, or there's two other scenarios. The Seahawks loss, which they did, and the Lions lose against the Jets, or the Seahawks loss and a Commanders loss against the Giants on a Sunday night. And then last one for the, I don't remember if this is 2 or 3 straight weeks. It's at least 2, I know. The Vikings are trying to clinch the NFC North. The Detroit Lions are not letting them clinch the NFC North, but the Vikings will clinch with a win. They just have to beat the Colts tomorrow, and they will be in the playoffs as the NFC North champion. Or again, they can lose it with the Lions loss at the Jets. The IR activations, bunch of practice windows getting opened, a lot of big name players coming back. Troy touchdown, they have taken the lead. Eagles tight end Dallas Goedert. I heard that he will most likely get activated off of IR tomorrow, which is the last day to do that before the game on Sunday. Raiders tight end Darren Waller and wide receiver Hunter Renfrow getting their practice windows opened. I heard Josh McDaniels say that he's uncertain about both. Not sure if either are going to play this week or not. And then big get back for the Saints center Eric McCoy activated off IR. So, just try to salvage what you can from the season in New Orleans there. But hey, they're still they're only 2 games back in the division.
That's a good point. There you go. You got to hope that they don't do that though.
And then guys being put on IR, Eagles punter Aaron Siposs, Browns linebacker Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah with a foot injury. I believe he is done for the year. Broncos running back Mike Boone is out for the year as well, as is Falcons quarterback Marcus Mariota undergoing knee surgery. Cardinals wide receiver Rondale Moore is done for the year. Saints running back Mark Ingram, and 49ers defensive lineman Hassan Ridgeway. Some injury updates here. 49ers wide receiver Deebo Samuel found out he has a sprained MCL and sprained ankle. Is expected back in the regular season, though. Kyle Shanahan saying about 3 weeks for Deebo there. They don't need him, though, right?
I guess. Just Purdy slinging it.
Mentioning Cardinals quarterback Kyler Murray, done for the year, torn ACL. 3 plays into that game on Monday night there. So it's going to be interesting to see what the Cardinals do in the offseason at quarterback. More than likely not going to be ready. I would assume that he's not going to be ready for the start of the season next year. So do they keep McCoy or go after a bigger name there. Also tearing an ACL, Steelers defensive end Chris Wormley out for the season there. Pretty big loss actually for that Pittsburgh defense, the opposite defensive end to Cameron Jordan in their 3-4 scheme. So have to ask a lot from the younger guys they have behind them. Rams quarterback John Walford, he has a neck injury, officially ruled out for Monday Night Football. Baker Mayfield getting his first start as a LA Ram.
It's going to be so hard to watch Baker Mayfield just torch Joe Barry's defense. It's going to make me sick, dude.
Titans rookie wide receiver Traylon Burks, he is still in concussion protocol, so more than likely out this week. Ravens quarterback Tyler Huntley is out of protocol though, and he will start. They announced today. And then Seahawks wide receiver Tyler Lockett last night, spiral fracture in his index finger. Going to be out at least 2 games, maybe more, depending on what it looks like when he goes in for surgery. Ins and outs here. Bills linebacker Matt Milano, he is in tomorrow. Ravens quarterback Lamar Jackson is out, as is Jets quarterback Mike White. Zach Wilson back to the starting job. Was elevated to the number 2 spot ahead of this week. And then with White not being cleared by the doctors there, Wilson will start once again. Steelers quarterback Kenny Pickett is doubtful. He has cleared concussion protocol, but listed as doubtful. Still don't know who's going to start yet for Pittsburgh. Whether that be Mason Rudolph or Mitch Trubisky. Panthers wide receiver DJ Moore is questionable, as is Commanders defensive end Chase Young. Same thing for Bengals wide receivers T. Higgins and Tyler Boyd with their hamstring and finger injuries. Bears wide receiver Chase Claypool is out, as is Broncos quarterback Russell Wilson. He's still in the concussion protocol. Patriots running back Ramondre Stevenson and Damian Harris, they are both questionable. I hope neither plays. And I picked up Pierre Strong in fantasy. Raiders running back Josh Jacobs is questionable as well. And Eagles safety Reed Blankenship is out. And then finally, Texans, bunch of guys out for them. I don't know how they're even going to play against the Chiefs. But running back Damian Pierce, wide receiver Brandon Cooks, wide receiver Nico Collins, and corner Derek Stingley Jr. all out. What do they even I don't even know what they have on offense now. Rex Burkhead, that's it.
Yeah. Amari Rogers.
Transactions wise, Texans, they waived running back Eno Benjamin. He was claimed by the Saints. Going to help them with Ingram on IR. Cardinals, they waived corner Trayvon Mullen. He was claimed by the Cowboys. That's a big get for Dallas. They've had some secondary injuries there. And then the Eagles, they signed former Titans punter Brett Kern and safety Anthony Harris. Going to help them out at 2 positions of need with Aaron Sipos going out, getting a veteran in Kern there, and then Reed Blankenship being out this week, and CJ Gardner-Johnson on IR. Anthony Harris, former Eagle, he already knows the system. The Bills made an interesting signing this week. They signed wide receiver Cole Beasley out of retirement there. I don't really understand the move. They don't have any injuries at wide receiver that I know of. So it's kind of weird to me anyways, but he knows the system.
Yeah. Gives them some, I don't know, some needed depth maybe, I guess. Just kind of a contingency plan in case they do suffer injuries late in the season.
That and like the T.Y. Hilton with Dallas thing was like, why? It's just like... and then the Texans, they signed quarterback Jeff Driscoll to their 53-man. I believe Davis Mills is starting this week, but Driscoll did play last week, and I didn't know why because I didn't watch that game against the Cowboys. But yeah, we'll see if he plays this week at all. College pick standings. You and Mark did well last week, 4-1. I went 3-2. Lost my only lone wolf, William and Mary, the worst lone wolf of all time. They got absolutely obliterated by Montana State. And it was not good to watch. Mark went 1-1 in his lone wolves. He lost out on the Navy Army game. He picked Navy, but he's obligated to pick Navy because he is a midshipman. And he did get right, however, he lone wolfed UIW, getting a massive win over my Sacramento State Hornets, 66-63, in a absolutely crazy game. So yeah, you are still 6 back as we enter bowl season. I am still a lot back. So tomorrow, the Wasabi Fenway Bowl, played at Fenway Park in Boston. The Cincinnati Bearcats against the Louisville Cardinals. Yeah, Mark's lone wolf and the Bearcats. I was kind of flip-flopping on this one. I wasn't sure who to pick. I just think Louisville for, again, I don't really have any reasons.
Yeah, this is definitely one. There's just so much good stuff here, right? So I don't know his name. I forget his name. Head coach of Louisville leaves for the head coaching position. Satterfield takes the job at Cincinnati after Luke Fickell exits. And I don't know if I remember sending this to you. The way that they are structuring the field, because it's being played at Fenway, the sidelines are going to be on the same side of the field. Mm-hmm. So he's going to be on the same sideline as his old team of 2 weeks ago. So
he's not going to coach.
You don't think so?
None of those coaches ever do when they transition. They never coach the bowl game usually.
I don't know. Well, he'll be there, I'm assuming.
Yeah, I would assume he'll be there. I assume new head coach Louisville, Jeff Brom, will be there too.
Yeah, still very going to be very interesting, kind of just adjacent storyline there to what should be a good game anyways.
I would just probably go with Malik Cunningham over Ben Bryant at quarterback. That's what I'm going with. Over under is 39. What is 39 in this game? But we're gonna go under. Why not?
Really?
It's played in a baseball stadium. Let's get a baseball score. 10-13, high scoring baseball.
Nice.
11 a.m. tomorrow on ESPN. Got to wake up early for that one in Boston. The Cricket Celebration Bowl, FCS number 10, Jackson State against NC Central. The NC Central, when I looked up their logo, it is just frightening. That eagle, I don't like it. But yeah, Dion's last game at Jackson State, they're gonna crush NC Central, I think. 14-point favorites. This one's played at Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta. So yeah, Shedeur Sanders and Dion go out with a bang.
Yeah, I agree. I think that he closes it out with a perfect season, man.
13-0, HBCU national championship. Over under is 55. The over, yeah. The Tigers are going to score points. And this one's 12 p.m. on ABC. The SRS Distribution Las Vegas Bowl, Florida against number 14, Oregon State. Beavers get 9. This one is played at Allegiant Stadium in Vegas. And yet Florida has absolutely no chance. No Anthony Richardson. That's just that. No, the Beavers are going to roll them.
Yeah. And I think, I forget what podcast I was listening to, but they made a really good point in that this is a bowl game that like Oregon State is going to appreciate kind of the moment and getting to play in Allegiant Stadium. Whereas Florida, this is kind of like a consolation.
Mm-hmm.
They're trying to, at least conceptually, perceptionally, they try to aspire to more. But yeah, I think Florida has a chance if the young guys that are going to have to step up really take advantage of this as a look. If I'm hoping to start next season, I got to show what I can do in this game. Because they've lost so much talent, whether they declare or transfer or what have you, to where they're going to need some guys to step up. But yeah.
Yeah, I don't know who the starter is for Florida. I think they do still have former Ohio State quarterback Jack Miller on the roster. So he could be an option, but I don't know who exactly is starting. But yeah, this is one of probably the worst matchups on the bowl slate, I would think. 230, over under is 53. I'm going with the under on that one. And 230 on ESPN. How about the Jimmy Kimmel LA Bowl presented by Stifle? This game is going to be really fun, and I'm excited to watch it tomorrow. Washington State, Fresno State. There should be a ton of points, and I am going to enjoy every moment watching Jake Hayner's last game in college.
Yeah. Yep. Is Cameron Ward playing in this as well, or did he declare and he's opting out?
He should be playing because
Awesome.
he announced he was returning, I believe.
Cool.
Yeah, because I don't think he's not that old. He's only a sophomore.
I think he's eligible, but I think
Yeah, third year sophomore. I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, both quarterbacks should be in, I believe. And yeah, my boy Hayner, he's a beast. Mountain West champs, Fresno State Bulldogs. The total for this one is also 53. I am lighting that one up. Let's get it in the 70s.
Yep.
3:30 on ABC. That's a prime slot right there on ABC. Lending Tree Bowl, Rice, the Owls, the only 5-7 team in a bowl game this season, against Southern Miss. We're all rolling with the Golden Eagles there. Frank Gore Jr. should put on a show, and he throws the ball every game now.
Really?
Once or twice. Yeah, it's crazy. Every Southern Miss game for like the last 6, he's had at least one passing attempt. It's really weird. I don't know why. Anyways, this one is at Hancock Whitney Stadium in Mobile, Alabama, where South Alabama plays. And the Jimmy Kimmel Bowl, by the way, was in SoFi Stadium in Inglewood, California. But yeah, this one, the total is 45.5. I'm going to go with the under. I don't believe at all in Rice scoring points. 5:45 on ESPN. When I saw that, I was like, what is that timing? That's such an
I saw them in somewhere.
Well, that's why. That's probably why they put it at 5:45, because no one wants to watch Rice. The New Mexico Bowl, SMU, the schools with 3 letters bowl, SMU versus BYU. Mark is lone wolf in the Cougars. I have no clue if Jaron Hall's playing in this one. I don't know. I believe everyone's up for SMU. So that's why I'm going with the Mustangs. And BYU's just been disappointing this year anyways. This one is at University Stadium in Albuquerque, New Mexico, where New Mexico plays. So yeah, total is 64. Do we think there's going to be points in this one or not? I don't know.
I think it depends on if Jaron Hall plays or not. Which I haven't heard anything yet, but for the same reasons you just explained, like that's why I went with SMU, is because I kind of assumed he'd be opting out.
Yeah. The 64, I don't know. I'm going to leave that as a question mark. It's a primetime game, though, 7:30 on ABC. Frisco Bowl presented by Serve Pro, North Texas, the Conference USA runners-up versus Boise State, the Mountain West runners-up. And the Broncos getting 10.5. I mean, they should absolutely light up North Texas. Talon Green there for Boise, I think, is going to have a great day with George Halani and the rest of that Bronco offense. North Texas got railed in the Conference USA Championship game, and then they fired their head coach. So, yeah, everything points to Boise State. And this one is played at Toyota Stadium in Frisco, Texas. That's the home of FC Dallas of Major League Soccer. Total is 59.5. I'm going to go with the over just because North Texas is going to get a little bit of scoring, and it'll be enough to push it over. 9:15 on ESPN, late game there in Frisco. And then we're going to go over this one on Monday because it's going to be before the show on Monday. So Myrtle Beach Bowl, Marshall against UConn. We are all on the herd. They're an 11-point favorite. This one's Conway, South Carolina, Brooks Stadium, where Coastal Carolina plays. We're going to be on the teal turf. And, I mean, Marshall's close enough. They're green.
Yeah. We're all green. Try to blend in.
Yeah. But yeah, unfortunately, for Jim Mora Jr., his first season there at UConn is going to end in a losing season. But just the job to get them to a bowl eligibility in his first year is really great to see. The total is 41. 41. I'm going to go with the over. 2:30 on Monday on ESPN. FCS semifinals. We got one tonight. Number 7 Incarnate Word, the Cinderella story of the FCS playoffs this year. At number 3, North Dakota State, and we think the the carriage is going to turn back into a pumpkin tonight because they got to go to the Fargo Dome, and not many people win in the Fargo Dome other than North Dakota State.
Yeah.
But yeah, unfortunately for Lindsey Scott, I don't think it's going to continue for the Cardinals.
Yeah, it's hard to win there. It's a crazy environment, and North Dakota State has, the championship pedigree. They've been there before. So
I really hate doing this, though. I really hate putting them into the championship game because then it's like, well, they're going to win. But they're not. They're not, though. They're not going to win because the other team is going to win that I have picked. 71.5 is the total for this game. No, it's going to go under because the Bison defense is stout, and I think they're going to hold and limit the UIW offense in this one. So I'm going under 71.5. Cam Miller, though, I don't know. Maybe we see the Bison. I don't think they want to get into that shootout game, though. If they do, UIW will torch them. 7 p.m. ESPN2 and ESPN Plus tonight. And tomorrow, the second semifinal game, number 4 Montana State at number 1 South Dakota State. Jackrabbits getting 5.5 at home. This definitely, I think, going to be South Dakota State's toughest test. Montana State's defense is really good, but I believe in Mark Gronowski, Isaiah Davis, and the Jacks offense there. So yeah. And now this is my national champion. It's who I'm going with after Sacramento State got ousted last week. So I'm back on my my original team when we started doing FCS games in 2020. I was a South Dakota State person, so going back to the Jacks.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's gonna be South Dakota State, North Dakota State in the final little rivalry there. And yeah, I got the Jackrabbits winning it as well.
That's going to be crazy. I don't think the airports in those two towns are going to be able to handle the amount of traffic that they have to get to fly everyone to Frisco for the championship game. The total in this one is 60.5. I'm going under. Like I said, I like the offense for South Dakota State, but I think the defenses of both teams are going to be good, and they're going to win it something like 24-20. 4 p.m. tomorrow, ESPN2, ESPN Plus. NFL pick standings, all 5-5 last week. Was not a very good week on a big bye week. But Mark was the only one that lone wolfed, and he went 1-1. Got the Browns wrong against the Bengals, but he did get the Detroit Lions right over the Minnesota Vikings. So, yeah, it's still close because if you saw last week, Logan, you did absolutely terrible, and Mark and I just lit it up. 11-1-1 for Mark, 10-2-1 for me, and you went like 6-6-1 or something like that.
Yeah, just got to get those weeks out of the way and finish strong here.
So yeah, Mark's still 1 game back of you, and I am a 9 back. I'm almost eliminated here soon. But we got Saturday NFL football, 3 games tomorrow. Colts at the Vikings to kick it off. I mean, the Colts are terrible. So I am hoping a big game for Jonathan Taylor. Need him in fantasy. Actually, no. Well, it's kind of like iffy because I want a big game because I have him in the playoffs in my one league, and I'm facing him in the losers bracket in my other league that I need to win in order to not finish last. So, yeah,
it's tough. That is the trick with fantasy is however many leagues you have, the more chance it is that you're rooting for and against the same guy.
But yeah, I think the Vikings are fine. They're going to want to get back on track after the loss at Detroit last week. So, and they can win the division with a win. So everything is on the table for Minnesota in this one.
Yeah. I think Minnesota has a lot of question marks when it comes to playing teams that are on their level or above. But in terms of a team like the Colts, I think the Vikings will take care of business.
The Colts actually do have a lot to play for now, though. Considering they are 2.5 games back in the division now in the AFC South, that division has gotten a lot closer. I still think Titans win, but we'll see. Total for this one's 47.5. I'm going to go under, I think. The totals are crazy this week in NFL. They are really high for some reason. Probably because last week a lot of overs hit. So the books were like, well, we're going to jack them up this week. 1 p.m. tomorrow, NFL Network. AFC North matchup, Browns hosting the Ravens. I was back and forth on this game.
Mm-hmm.
Originally, I was like Browns all day. I didn't know the status of Tyler Huntley. Thought Anthony Brown might be the starter. They cleared Huntley. He's going to start. So that kind of pushed me back over to Baltimore.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think this is one of those games that could go either way, I think. And I mean, it just came down to me last week. The Browns did not look good against Cincinnati. Now, I think right now Cincinnati's a better football team than the Ravens are, obviously. But I still think the Ravens are a better football team than the Browns are. So for that reason, because they didn't look great against Cincy, going with the Ravens.
Yeah, and J.K. Dobbins looking to build off his great first game back last week that he had. Starting him in fantasy again this week. 38 for this one is the total. I'm going under. It's a AFC North matchup. So under. 4:30 NFL Network. And the primetime game tomorrow, Dolphins at the Bills. We're all on Buffalo. They can clinch a playoff berth with a win and distance themselves to where they can clinch the division next week. So, yeah, and the Dolphins are coming off an absolutely just terrible performance against LA.
Yeah. Yeah. I think for me, this came down to home field. I think if this was in Miami, there might be a different story, even with how poorly Miami played last week. But I think just in the cold in December in Buffalo, I think the Bills pull it out.
The total here is 44, and I'm actually going with the over in that one. 8:15 on NFL Network. Sunday, Eagles at the Bears. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of trappy, but at the same time, I mean, no Claypool for Chicago. I don't like Komet's like the only receiver they have.
Yeah.
Because Mooney's not there.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't even know who Justin Fields is going to throw the ball to. So
yeah, it's
Eagles
going to be tough.
Go ahead. My bad.
It's going to be rough. Like looking, it's going to be an ugly game.
Yeah, and the Eagles defense already has practice against mobile quarterback when they practice against Jalen Hurts. So they're used to it. The over-under is very high. The highest of the weekend, I believe. Oh, no, there's one other that's higher. 48.5, though. I'm going to go with the over because the Eagles are averaging 41 points a game the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, I think it's doable. I mean, you obviously have the Eagles kind of pop off, and then maybe you plan on Justin Fields, running for some good gains, and getting it in the end zone maybe a couple times.
And that's the other thing too about this. Like the Bears defense is terrible. Once they traded away Roquan Smith, Eddie Jackson's been hurt. It's absolutely terrible.
Yeah, I think the only consolation for the Bears and the Bears fans is like, if you're Ryan Poles, take this game to just really look up close about how Howie Roseman has built this Eagles team and try to do as much of that as possible with the amount of cap space you have in the offseason. Because I think you could build a similar offense around Justin Fields that they've been able to build around Jalen Hurts. And I think, that would be your best plan.
Okay. The next one here, Steelers at the Panthers. And so I'll be rooting for the Steelers because they're my second team and the Panthers are my third. But I'm picking the Panthers. We're lone wolf in Pittsburgh. No Kenny Pickett. More than likely. Doubtful there. Don't know who the starter is yet. Trubisky or Rudolph. And the Panthers are playing for everything right now. One game back from the Bucks in the division. Their running game has been fantastic with Deontay Foreman and Chuba Hubbard, even sprinkled in Raheem Blackshear as well. And Sam Darnold's doing the right stuff and not turning the ball over. So I think the Panthers have everything moving in their direction at this point.
Yeah, I think this was really close for me. And I think just kind of what it boiled down to is I think that Mike Tomlin's going to be able to call a good enough game to where he's going to be able to expose some of the stuff that the Panthers have been able to do well over this kind of stretch of the year. And I just don't think, even though the Panthers are still in, surprisingly, after a terrible start to the season, are still in the division hunt, I just don't think they're as good as that kind of speaks to, because they're in such a weak division. So that's why I went with the Steelers there. But it's definitely, and you see the spread there is a reflection of that. It's kind of a toss-up game.
I do think too that the Panthers defense has been playing exceptionally well. And it's going to be a tough matchup for the Steelers offense without Pickett. Brian Burns on the edge is going to be a factor. And then, JC Horn has been excellent in coverage recently as well. So the total for this one is the lowest of the weekend, 37.5, or second lowest, 37.5. I'm going to go under defense. NFC South battle here. Falcons at the Saints. You're load wolfing a lot this week, by the way. You are taking the Rook, Desmond Ridder, to win his first career start in New Orleans in the Superdome.
Yeah. It's tough. It is tough, and I'll admit, and it's risky. It's very risky here with the lead, kind of playing fast and loose this late in the season, but I just kind of had to go with my gut. My gut tells me that the Falcons right now are a better team than the Saints are. I've been really disappointed in the Saints this season. They just have not looked great in multiple facets of the game. And I think that can leak over to this game, this divisional game.
I will say, despite who wins this, granted, again, it is a massive game because the Falcons win, they're sticking up. They're either going to be tied or stay one game back of the Bucs. The Saints win, they could be one game back if the Bucs lose. So it'll be interesting, to say the least, to who wins this one.
Yeah.
That division is going to come down to week 18. And someone's going to have to win to get in. We're going to go into week 18, all of them. 6-10.
Yeah.
Whoever hits 7-10 wins.
Yep. One of them's going to get in the playoffs, and they're going to be below 500
and host the playoff game.
Mm-hmm.
The total for this one, 43.5. I'm going to go over, and there's not really a reason for it. Great matchup. Get to see Drake London against Chris Olave. It's going to be a rookie receiver show in that one.
Mm-hmm.
And, of course, the best rookie receiver on the field, Rashid Shaheed, as well.
Yep.
Okay. The Lions at the Jets. Again, you're lone wolfing. You're taking Zach Wilson in his immaculate return to the starting line to win in Gotham City over the streaking, hair on fire Detroit Lions.
I am. And it's not Zach Wilson, because I have very little confidence in kind of where he's at right now. It's about what I think Robert Saleh can do to Jared Goff outside of the dome in the elements. It's going to be a handful because, again, the Lions offense is talented, man. I mean, you're talking about great O-line, great weapons, and one of the deepest backfields in the league. But I think that as well as Jared Goff has played this season, I still think a good defensive coach like Robert Saleh is going to be able to take advantage of some things that he does and kind of manifest some inconsistencies that we've seen in his career. And I think in a must-win game for kind of both of these teams, I think at home he's going to be able to pull it out. But we'll see. I think it's definitely going to be a good game.
Yeah, I bought an extra can of kneecaps just to watch this game. Yeah, I like the Lions offense continue to win, continue to push. I want to see the Lions in the playoffs. Let's make it happen.
Let me say this. I am, even as a Packers fan, I am super happy for the Lions and for Dan Campbell. I just love everything that they've been able to do. And it was frustrating for me at the beginning of the season when they started out so poorly, because I like Dan Campbell so much. And I think that him and Brad Holmes have kind of been doing a lot of good things. And it's great to see it kind of happen now on the field more. So, yeah.
Yeah, last thing about this game itself is crazy because this used to be just the shittiest matchup out there.
Yeah.
It was so bad. And now we got 6 and 7 versus 7 and 6.
Yeah. And we're talking playoff implications for both these teams.
Yeah. Well, that's just, 2022 is just ridiculously weird. Over under is 43.5. I am going to go with the over. Lions score. Cowboys at the Jags. Look who's lone wolfing now. Trevor Lawrence is on fire right now. They're playing at home. And, the Cowboys just had an issue with the Texans of all teams. At home, mind you. So, yeah, I mean, everything is there for the Jags. Again, like I said, they're 2 games back from the Titans here with 4 games to go. So they're hoping that they get a chance at the division. And I don't know. The Jags are playing well.
Yeah, I definitely don't think that's an unrealistic underdog, kind of possibility because, like you just said, the Jags have been playing pretty well. Trevor Lawrence has been playing pretty well, and the Cowboys, as of late, have kind of, hit some roadblocks. What this came down to for me is, I think, kind of what Dallas can do defensively and what Micah Parsons can do. I think that he's just going to be able to. With as well as Trevor Lawrence has been playing, there's still some instances of some inconsistencies. And I think that can be exacerbated when you're facing such a talented kind of defense, So that's why I went with the Cowboys, along with the fact that they kind of have, the Jaguars aren't out of it. Like you said, like the AFC South is still bad and wide open. But at the same time, it kind of feels like the Cowboys have a little bit more to play for. But yeah, we'll see. I definitely think it's going to be closer than maybe what like most people would think.
Yeah, playoff berth with a win for Dallas. And also the I forget where I was going. The Jags, if they can get Lawrence time, he will shred the Cowboys secondary. I think that's the weakest part of the team. Is that secondary?
It is, yeah.
The total for this one is 48, and I am rolling with the over. Chiefs at the Texans. That is god awful spread. 2 touchdowns are the Chiefs in Houston. They almost had the biggest upset of the season last week. Now, can they come back home and get the greatest upset in the last couple of years?
No. I don't think so.
Lovie Smith's going to run his 2 quarterback system that he did last week. Driscoll and Davis show there. So, I don't know. There's a lot of stuff working against the Texans. No Cooks, no Collins, no Pierce, no Stingley on defense.
Yeah.
Should they just forfeit and not play the game?
Yeah, and that's just the reason why I'd put, if I was a betting man, which I'm not yet, I'd put a lot of money on the Chiefs, honestly, even with how big this spread is. There's just too many guys out for the Texans.
Total, this is the highest total of the week, 49.5. I'm going under, like, actually, well, why not go over? Because the Chiefs, I really don't think their defense is the greatest. So I do think the Texans are going to score a little bit. So over, why not? And granted, the Broncos have a pretty good defense, and they picked off Mahomes 3 times last week. But the Broncos only lost by a touchdown last week, 6 points. So I'm just saying that the Chiefs aren't as great as everyone thinks they are, I don't think.
Yeah, I agree. I think there's definitely some things to take advantage of.
4:05 games here. Cardinals at the Broncos. We're all on the Broncos. It's kind of a shocker. This is a excellent matchup. Colt McCoy versus Brett Rippon. Who would have thought? I think we are picking Denver because it has really the only strong unit on the field in this game, and that's their defense.
Mhm.
That's why I picked them anyways. And Rippon looked pretty decent last week against Kansas City anyways.
Yeah. Yep. That's exactly why I picked the Broncos. Just their defense is good. You're going up against Colt McCoy and a Cardinals offense that struggled even with Kyler Murray. Yeah. And I mean, fantasy wise, I'm honestly debating on whether I should start DeAndre Hopkins even in the playoffs, because I mean, him going against PS2 with Colt McCoy at quarterback, I'm not feeling it.
You have to start him. I mean, it's D-Hop. And even with McCoy, he still had 7 receptions for 79 yards and a fumble last week. So it's just like when he was in Houston, dude. You still started him because he would get throws,
Yeah, I guess.
regardless of who plays. 37, the lowest total. And let's roll with the under. Why not? Patriots at the Raiders. Mark's lone wolf and the Raiders here. Josh Jacobs questionable in this game. I feel like he's been questionable last 4 games. But yeah, this is a really crazy matchup. That Patriots defense versus the Raiders offense, I think, is the most intriguing spot of this game. And who's going to cover Devontae? That's what I want to know.
Bill Belichick's scheme. That's kind of what I would bet on, is just, I think that Billy B is going to be able to get one over on his old longtime assistant.
Not a great track record assistants of Belichick going up against him.
Yeah.
Same thing like Saban.
Yep.
But yeah, I think the Patriots running game against that Raiders defense is going to just wreck them. And again, the Patriots defense is one of the best in the league. They're fighting for a playoff spot. So yeah, and I mean the Raiders also are still in the hunt, 2 games back of a playoff spot, and they have won 4? They've won 3 out of the last 4. So, and they really should have won 4 in a row had it not been for an epic Baker Mayfield comeback last Monday night. But
Vintage.
yeah. The total for this one, 44.5. I'm going under. I just think the Patriots defense gets it done. 425 games here. Titans at the Chargers. Lone wolfing once again, sir. This was really close for me. I almost took Tennessee, and maybe that should be the pick, but I'm going with Justin Herbert building off that Miami performance, and the Titans are playing like crap right now.
Yeah, this was definitely a tough one for me, and I guess you can say this about both these teams, but for me, I don't know, for whatever reason, more so even for the Chargers, is like I just can't figure them out. Like I just don't know what they're about, kind of if they're good or not. So for that reason, I went with Tennessee. I think that they're still a team that has an identity that they can still fall back on with Mike Vrabel and Derrick Henry. Whereas the Chargers, like I said, I just don't know if they're good or not. So that's why I went with them. But like you said, I think it's close, and I think it's a toss up.
Yeah, thinking about it now, I probably should have picked the Titans with Henry going up against one of the worst run defenses in the league. But if the Chargers just, they just look at the Eagles and the Jaguars games, that they'll tell you how to stop Derrick Henry. So, I mean, it seems like the league has figured it out. At least the Eagles and Jags did. So we'll see if the Chargers can figure that out too. Total is 46.5, and I'm rolling with the over in that one for no reasons at all. I want to mention the Cure Bowl here coming down to the wire. UTSA 4th and 9 on the Troy 42, down 6. 138 to go, by the way. Bengals at the Bucks. I don't like this game at all. The Bengals, I think, are going to crush the Bucks. Their defense has not played well. Incompletion. UTSA is going to lose the game.
Wow.
Zachary Franklin couldn't pull it. Well, Frank Harris threw it a little too deep, but Zachary had a chance for it. But yeah, Cincinnati is just rolling, and
yeah,
I don't think Tampa will be able to keep up.
Yeah. Tampa's defense has been banged up. Secondary's been not great.
They don't have a run game.
Like you said, the Bengals they've been getting hot at the right time. So yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how the Bucks don't have a running game still. Like, it's you can't have your 45-year-old quarterback throw in 45 times a game.
Yeah, it's not sustainable.
Total is 45. And I'm gonna go with the over in that one as well. How about this game on a Sunday night? I think it's gonna be probably one of the best Sunday night games of the year. Giants at the Commanders, both 7-5-1. Winner will jump up. Well, winner will claim the number 6 spot by themselves in the playoff picture. I was shocked though that Washington was 5-point favorites. That felt like a little much for me. But yeah, we're all on the Commanders. I mean, I think they're just a better team, right?
Yeah. And maybe not the better team, but at least the hotter team, I think, like right now. Like the Giants kind of cooled off, whereas the Commanders have kind of kicked it up. And for that reason, I went with them. But I mean, yeah, like you said, Sunday night, divisional game, rivalry game with playoff implications. It's going to be fun to watch, just like we drew it up in summer, right?
I do hope though that Saquon can do something in fantasy. He's been absolutely terrible, and I need him this week. So we'll see. Total is 40.5. And you know what's interesting about that is that their tie game 2 weeks ago ended 2020. So with that regard, I'm gonna go with the over though. I think 24-20. Maybe less than that though. Field goal type of game, possibly. Best bets wasn't great last week. 0-3. Steelers were my closest one. -2 for the Steelers since the Ravens didn't work out. They lost. Titans -3.5. That definitely didn't work out against the Jags. They got blitzed. And then the Bucks +3 at the Niners. That was a fun time. So yeah, this week though, Ravens +3 at the Browns. Again, I think they're the better team. Tyler Huntley really solidified my selection of that one there. And hopefully JK runs for a lot of yards. Lions -1.5 against the Jets. I just like that because it's such a low spread. And if they win, they're probably going to cover that. And then we all picked the Commanders, but I do really like that 5 for the Giants, though. Like I said, I think it's going to be a close game, and 5 points is a pretty hefty amount in what I said was a field goal type of game there. Locks, yeah, locks and dogs, dude. Last week was just absolutely terrible. 0-1 for all of us. Mark still 2 up on you, 3 up on me. Locks last week, you had the Dolphins at the Chargers. Didn't work out. Mine was the Steelers against the Ravens. Close loss there. If Mitch threw 2 interceptions instead of 1, maybe they win. Or instead of 3, maybe they win. And then Mark picked the Titans against the Jags. They got killed. So yeah. This week though, of course, Mark being the square that he is picking the Eagles, getting them at 9 against the Bears. You're going with the Vikes against the Colts tomorrow. And I'm on the Bengals against the Bucks. Really like that matchup there. So yeah. Should be solid all around, I think.
Yeah. Hopefully we got better returns this week.
In the dog standings, yeah, like I said, it was not very good. 0-2. We've all kind of hit like a kind of rough patch here because you are now under 500, sir. I am still treading water with 3 games above 500, but you are still 2 back. Mark is a lot 8 back. So Mark, I don't think Mark mathematically can even
he's been eliminated,
even get up to 500 with only four weeks left in the regular season. But yeah, last week you and I had a great time watching the Bucks +3 at the Niners happen. So it was a good time. And then Mark Browns +5.5 at the Bengals did not work out either. They lost by 13. But here we go this week. You're on the Jets. You're gonna lose +1.5 against the Lions. There is a scenario where we both win. The Lions win by 1. And you cover. I'm on the Patriots +1 at the Raiders. It's a tough spread to cover, but I think the Patriots are going to win outright, as do you. So yeah, I think they're going to be fine there. And then Mark is on the he's been sticking with the AFC North teams because he picked the Bengals 3 weeks ago, picked the Browns last week, and now he's on the Ravens this week against Cleveland. +3 at the Browns. There are the Ravens. So I do like that one as well, as it is one of my best bets. Next week, Week 16 will still be in the heat of bowl season. And then we'll be breaking down the Monday night Baker Mayfield spectacular, Rams at the Packers. Baker's gonna be mad though. He just got to the nice, warm, sunny LA, and now he's got to come to bleak Green Bay.
The frozen tundra, baby.
And then the Thursday night week 16 kickoff is Jags at the Jets. That one should be entertaining, I think, especially depending on what happens this week. As always, don't forget to follow us on all our social media at FAA Podcasts on Instagram and Twitter. FAA_bets is our betting Twitter, and FAApodcast.com is our website. You can check us out here on YouTube, Facebook, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and iHeartRadio. Thanks for coming back on, sir. And
absolutely, brother.
We'll see you
Glad to
on
be back.
Monday.
See ya.